Hello dear students, welcome to this class of MA Final Paper 5th B, that is American Literature. I am Dr. S.S.Vaidwan, and dear students, today we will discuss section 3rd of the poem Crossing Brooklyn Ferry. As you all are familiar that in the last video we discussed section 1st and 2nd of the poem. It's a long poem, as I reiterate, it's a long poem of about 130 lines, and the poem is divided into 9 sections. So let us begin with section 3 and let us talk about the previous section to connect with section 3. Dear students, in the second section, the poet, he says that the travelers, how they enter the door of the ferry and how they cross the river from one bank to the other, and this traveler, they see the current of the flood tide, that is the flow of the river, and they also see ships in the ocean. The ships are huge, and they these ships, they also look like small islands. Now the mouth of the river, when it opens in the sea, many of them large and small islands. And the poet says when the time elapses, that is the coming generations, he talks about 50 years hence, that is 50 years from now, when the coming generations will see, they will also be looking at these islands and these buildings and the sun and also the flow of the river and the flood tide. Then he says that the past generations, they have also done the same thing, and says that both the generations, the coming generation, the past generation, has already enjoyed the scenery, the sunset, the sunrise, and the flood tide, and says that the coming generations, they will also enjoy this phenomena, and this universal scheme will continue. So we now come to section 3. Here the poet, he says that time, place and distance, the three things, time, place and distance, he says that they are nothing but a count, a number, and they do not give any separation from the passengers, because the passengers of life, they remain same, and the time, it keeps on changing, the place, it keeps on changing, and the distance, that is the lifespan of each and every one, it also changes. Whitman, he says that all these persons of the present generation, that is the living generation, the current generation, the present generation, whether they are men or women, that is barring their identity, barring their gender, all these people, they feel the same elation, they feel the same enjoyment when they look on the river and the sky. That is, they express their emotions, they express their sentiments, and these are same. He also says that all these men and women, they feel the same emotions. The travelers, he says that traveling and these travelers, they are complementary to each other. That is, the journey, their journey of crossing from one bank to another is how we look at life. It is birth and death. The poet, he says that the travelers, some of them, they refreshed, they are refreshed by the joy of the river, this ride, this joy, and he says that I look at the traveler and some of them they lean on the rail of the boat. They enjoy and feel that they are being carried to the other bank swiftly, very swiftly. So he says that we should not be in a hurry to go to the other bank. It will take time. We will travel to the other bank, we will cross the river and will reach our destination. Then he talks about the ships and the pipes of the boats, and then he says that the river, it has been crossed so many times by me. I have crossed the river so many times, and each and every time I feel a new joy, a new experience, and a new relation with all my fellow travelers. The poet, he says that the birds, look at the birds flying, and some of the birds they come and sit on the rail of the ferry also. So this beautiful scene, it has made a permanent impact in the mind of the travelers and in the mind of the poet also. He says the reflection of sky, when you look into the water, the clear reflection of the sky with clouds, it can be seen there, and the beauty, the joy of this scene, it makes much impact on the travelers and on the poet also. It leaves a deep impact in my heart. The poet, he says that some of the fellow travelers, they seems to dazzle. Then sometimes the vapor, it comes on the glasses as it comes out of the ocean. The poet, he says that many ships are coming, going. So this coming and going is a universal process. Whether you take life, human life, the journey of human life, whether the journey of a ship, whether crossing this Brooklyn, and the poet, he says that these quiet sails of many a small and large, huge ships, they are part of this universal scheme. The poet, he looks at the rigging and at the pole. So these are some of the terms that are used in the uh, that refers to the ship industry, the ship and the boat. The poet, he also talks about the small steamers sailing in the ocean with the pilots in their cabins. Look at the beautiful scenery of the sea, huge ships, then small steamers, boats, all these things, it is all there, and the minute observation, that is the poet, he is making a very minute observation of all these uh, floating objects in the sea and the water. He says that some of the white flakes which are left by the ship while sailing on the ocean, it is a different kind of a scene. You know, the white flakes, they are left in water by the huge ships in the ocean. He also talks about the different ships coming from different parts of the world with different national flags, because each and every ship, it displays on its mast the flag of the nation to which it belongs. He talks about the building during the evening time, and the whole scene, it becomes dim at dusk, because it is now evening. The lights in the building come up, and this scene, it looks very, very beautiful. He talks of the docks and the chimneys, and how fire of the chimneys, they are coming out with red and yellow light. Then he talks about the tops of the houses, because the light of the fire of the chimney is coming out of these chimneys, and it can be seen at the top of the over the top of the houses. And also he says that at the time of dusk, the scene, it altogether changes. Whitman, in this section, that is section 3, he discussed about the different different activities that are taking place in the ocean, in the river, and in the sky, because the birds, they fly in the sky. So here, dear students, we can say that Whitman, he has presented in minute observation of the happenings, of the activities happening around him when while crossing the river, in this poem, Crossing Brooklyn Ferry. I hope you have understood this section 3 of the poem Crossing Brooklyn Ferry. Dear students, we will carry on with other sections in the next video. Thank you very much.